This is Esther Upham-Malewich with Worship Now, Here's How. Today we're going to learn about inversions. An inversion is made up of the notes of the chord or triad. So it's very important that you watch the video on major and minor triads on white keys before you learn how to play an inversion. Inversions are very useful in all types of music. But especially when you are improvising, it's very useful to know what the inversions are. So if we start with the notes of the chord or triad, let's start with C major. So the notes of the C major chord are C, E, G. C, E, and G. Now that is called root position. Okay? So if we want to make it into an inversion, all we need to do is move the bottom peg. So from the low C, we're going to move it up to a C, an octave higher. Now our chord is formed of E, G, C. So we still have the same three notes, but we've just changed the position around, and that creates the first inversion. Now again, if we want to make the second inversion, we can move the bottom note up an octave. So we went from the lower E to the higher E. And now we have G, C, E. And that is called the second inversion. So, and again, if you move the lower note, the G, up an octave, you'll be back to a root position chord, C, E, G. So with a 3-note chord, you have root position, first inversion, second inversion. That's it. Okay? For the fingering, for the right hand is going to use 1, 3, 5. Then on the root position, on the first inversion, it's going to use 1, 2, 5 on the first inversion, and 1, 3, 5 again on the second inversion. And that is consistent for every single triad, whether it's on a white key or a black key, a major or a minor. For the left hand, the fingering is going to be 5, 3, 1 for a root position triad, 5, 3, 1 for the first inversion chord, and then 5, 2, 1 on the second inversion chord. So there's only a difference of the right hand has 1, 2, 5 on the first inversion. The left hand has 5, 2, 1 on the second inversion. Okay? Let's talk about some other triads. Let's go over all of the white keys. So that was C major. Now if we go to G major, we have G, B, D. For our triad or chord, root position chord, we move the G up. Now we have B, D, G. That's for our first inversion. We move the B up, and now we have D, G, B for the second inversion. So these are all group 1 chords. So we have F major triad, F, A, C. Then if we move the F up an octave, now we have A, C, F, and that is our first inversion. Again, we move the A up an octave, and now we have C, F, A, and that is our second inversion chord. C, F, and G are called our group 1 chords because they all have white keys in the triad, in the chord. Let's go to the group 2 chords. So the group 2 chords, we have D, F sharp, A. So now the group 2 chords have one black key in the middle. So the D chord, D, F sharp, A, follows the same policy for the inversions. We're going to move the D up an octave. Now we have F sharp, A, D. That's our first inversion. And then if we move that F sharp up an octave, we have A, D, F sharp, and that is our second inversion, D chord, D major chord. Then going to the next one of the group 2 triads, so we have E chord, E major, E, G sharp, B. So that is our root position triad. Then if we move the E up an octave, we have our first inversion, G sharp, B, E. And again, if we move the G sharp up an octave, now we have our second inversion, B, E, G sharp. And our third triad that fits with group 2 is the A major chord. So A major has A, C sharp, E. For this triad, then we move the A up an octave, and then we have C sharp, E, A. And this is getting rather high here. We move the C sharp up an octave, and we have E, A, C sharp. I'm going to put that down a little bit lower so you can see it better. So if we do A, C sharp, E, that's root position. C sharp, E, A, that's first inversion. E, A, C sharp, that's second inversion for the A major triad. So those are our group 2 chords, D, A, and E major. The last one of the white key majors is B major. Now this one fits in what we call group 4 because it's an odd key. It doesn't look like any of the other chords. It's unique. So B major, starting on B, then our third is D sharp, and our fifth is F sharp. So on B major, we have 2 sharps. This is a very hard chord to play. You want to slide your hands into the keys more to be able to reach that. So to form our first inversion, we're going to move the B up an octave, and we have D sharp, F sharp, B. And to form the second inversion, we're going to move that D sharp up here, and we have F sharp, B, D sharp. So the fingering does not change. It should still be 1, 3, 5, 1, 2, 5, 1, 3, 5 for each of the inversions on B major. Now, if you wanted to form the minor triads and inversions, it would be the same exact thing. So just a reminder, your C minor, G minor, and F minor, group 1 triads, are now going to have 1 flat in the middle. So it's a black key, but it's called a flat, not a sharp. So for example, C, E flat, G, okay, that's your C minor triad, okay? So each of the group 1 minor triads are formed the same way, C minor, G minor, F minor. We're going to have 1 flat in the middle. Now for the group 2 triads, D, F, and A major, now the minor, it becomes D, F, A. So all white keys. So the group 2 minor triads now have all white keys. So that's D minor, E minor, A minor. Okay, so I'm showing you D minor here. And then last but not least, B minor. So for B minor, the D sharp becomes a natural, and now we have B, D, F sharp. And that is your B minor triad. So from that knowledge, then you can form the inversions based on what we just did with the major inversions. And I wish you all the best as you learn your triads and inversions. And if you like this video, please subscribe. Thank you.